All right, call the regular scheduled May council meeting to order. Want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I guess we'll get the general here. We got a crowd. Maybe he need to come to all our meetings. But we're honored to have him here tonight. We'll open up in our normal fashion with our prayer and pledge. Representative Shaw is here. I ask if he will come and lead us in prayer, if he doesn't mind. Stand with us and pray, follow our pledge.
Gracious Father, we thank you today for the good blessings that you blessed us with and for this opportunity to share in fellowship. We pray for our mayor and for our councilman tonight that you would guide their thoughts and their minds, that the decisions they make would be good for all of us throughout this community. And God, we thank you for the fellowship. It is in Jesus' name we pray, and we thank you for our country, for our state, for our community. Amen.
Amen. You face the flag with us for our pledge.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, Ms. Clerk.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Golden?
Here.
Mr. Lau?
Here.
Mr. McKinney?
Here.
Ms. Miller? Ms. Ray? Here. Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Woods?
All right, we have one set of meeting minutes to approve from our April council meeting. If there are no corrections or changes to those minutes, is there a motion to approve?
I make the motion. A second.
Motion by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Lau. If you will cast your votes. Motion carried. All right, moving on to my report, I'll just turn the floor over to Major General Ross at this time and let him lead us from here.
All right. Mayor, thank you, and the council members. Try not to, there's quite a crowd here. They're friendly, you're on your friendly lines here, so nobody's here, I don't think, at least off the ones that I know, asking for a decrease in one rate or an increase in another rate or any of that. So we get to do a lot of work for the citizens of Tennessee, and very often or very infrequently do we get to come back and kind of say thank you. We know Tennessee National Guard is appreciated, but this gives us an opportunity to do a couple of things tonight, and I'll get into that in just a second. Just going to have to allow me the liberty of a little bit of your time, and I hope to make it worth your time. It's great to have Senator Wally and Representative Shaw here. Colonel Carey's here. We all know him as Chip. I knew him as Colonel Carey well before, and I still have problems calling him Chip. But Colonel Banks and some other folks here, plus just a ton of your community members that were assigned to this Bolivar Armory out here in some form or fashion. Also, the Armory that we'll be talking about here in a few minutes, many people refer to it as the Armory, but it had another name, and it was the Howard Vincent Black Armory, and with that carries a special significance that I want to talk about. And the Howard Vincent Black family, Cynthia, Earl, better known to some of us here in this room as Coach Hook, they're here to receive some artifacts and a few other things that First Sergeant Black had put at that armory on display. So talk a little bit more about Howard Vincent Black here in just a minute. Special person, community treasure, and we just, the intent here is to make sure that we return those artifacts to the family, that we give you all some artifacts here that hopefully preserves some of the history. It's not just a building there. All this crew behind me here, well, a lot of them, it may not be all of them, have, I invited them because they have invested considerable time in their lives to be a member of that unit out there, and a member of this community, the county, and you've got some people out here that were a member of that armory that did not live in this county, that regularly transitioned here back and forth as the Army does what the Army does, which is tell you to pick up and go there. So they did it, and even though they're not members necessarily of the community, they're here because this armory meant something to them. Prior to tonight, we were able to spend a few minutes over at Simon's having some dinner, and it's amazing how the war stories grew. Yeah, I mean, we never lost a fight, ever. And that's incredible. I don't remember it that way, guys, as well. So, you know, they're a little bit weathered and older now, but I don't have any doubt that, you know, if they heard the sound of the fight, they'd get up and go to it, to include one sitting here on your council that was a part of that. So that brick building out there was more than just an armory. It's got like deep significance to a lot of us here, and the soldiers that trained in those walls. So just wax poetic just a second and go back. So there's a guy down at University of Southern Mississippi, Dr. Andrew Weist, that he's trying his best. The Guard, especially any Guard state, but the National Guard in itself doesn't necessarily always have historians. And so we're made up of community members and all of that. Army doesn't pay for us to have a historian. Dr. Weist is trying his best to fill that role for all 54 states and territories. But he writes, and this is well known, so the Guard that we know today kind of traces its root back to a place in Massachusetts called Buckman's Tavern. It's going to be important because I'm going to refer to that in a minute when we talk about First Sergeant Black. And there was a guy named John Parker. There's somebody in this room named John Parker. But there was a captain named John Parker, Massachusetts militia. British is on the way. He got a bunch of local citizens up. And that formed the very DNA cells of what we know today as the modern day National Guard. It was armed citizens that answered the call when their community and their country called them. American citizen soldiers are older than the country it serves. The militia in the Tennessee or the National Guard older than the country it serves. You can see it to this day in Ukraine, different places. When armies are formed, the powers that be reach out into society and they pull maybe some of the less desirables. They empty their prisons. We see that going on in Ukraine and Russian fight right now. It's not that way in America, though. We pull from the best we have. And when you're talking about the National Guard, that's from our communities. We get the teachers, the preachers, the lawyers, the bus drivers, the farmers. We get all of those people. In fact, the soul of our success shares the DNA with those initial militiamen at Buckman's Tavern. It provides us a secret sauce that no other military in the world can match. It's a secret in something inside of us that propels us to win at all cost, no matter what situation, circumstance we're put in. So we send our best and most valued members throughout our communities there. They're our fathers, our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, friends we grew up with, played sports together, went to church together, eat potluck meals together. Behind those doors at the Armory, they celebrate, fuss, cuss, discuss, and everything else you can think. But they guard what matters, and that's these communities. We saw that in Fern, we saw it in Hurricane Helene, and I can tell you, not to a great extent, but there's Tennessee Guardsmen downrange and in harm's way tonight in a significant number engaged in epic fury. We've been on the border. We've been all these places. We do that because it's our communities. That's the secret sauce for us. It's been said in political circles that, hey, if there's a fight that's going to start somewhere, a world fight, a war, that you can do it, but you're not going to get the support unless you have your local guard involved. Now, our politicians learned that a long time ago. Not so much in Vietnam, but they were involved some. But every fight since, they've understood that this is their connections, military connections to the community. And I'm putting all that here just to say the significance of this armory and why we're doing this here tonight. So that Bolivar Armory was like several more in the state, every other one, but it was more than just brick and mortar. It was a link from the military establishment to the people, to the heart of America. It's done more than train soldiers. It's had birthdays there, elections there, parties there. I don't know. There's some people in here that was in that armory long before I was. It might have been a wedding there if it wasn't a wedding reception there. So it was kind of especially in a rural community, long before we had community centers, that's what that became. So it was the site of a lot of tearful send-offs, but equally joyful welcome homes as soldiers left and came back. A place of promotions, funerals, and everything else that happens in a community that make it a community, make it special. So tonight what we're doing is we're here to present to you this large frame copy over here of the armory, and that's an architectural sketch that our engineers at Joint Force Headquarters had. They brought it to me. There's 18 other properties across the state that we're divesting so that we can build new at some point, some point. We have to do this in order to get Department of War approval to increase our square footage. We just can't go build a new armory. They go off of a square footage ratio. So anyway, our engineers brought this this photo because they knew I was from Bolivar and I served in that unit, said, I think, sir, you need to have this. And I thought, yeah, one part of my heart says I want that because of my brothers, so many friends and families in this room behind me, so many mentors, sponsors, everybody came through that. But that is not mine. That belongs to the city council and the people in Bolivar. And so we kind of went a step farther. I wanted to give the picture, but I more so wanted to give the history of the armory, and we talk in terms of units. It's just too many people that have gone through that armory, especially, I would name every one of these people in here that I'm like, hey, this person was there, this person was there. You can't do that. So we put the units on there, and specifically units that deployed either to combat, tornadoes, hurricanes and things like that. So our hope is that, there's soldiers that deployed out of there to Iraqi Freedom, Spartan Shield, Enduring Freedom, and on and on and on. Hurricane Katrina. They did all of this stuff, from COVID response to securing Washington, D.C., Winter Storm Fern, and just a whole lot of other things. Our hope is that you will mount that somewhere so that young people, and that's, I think, what you're using this for, can understand when they walk through those doors, nobody's expecting a salute or anything above and beyond, just to know that that armory had a different purpose in an earlier life, and it was a noble purpose, and something that I think these folks behind me are very, very proud of, or they wouldn't have showed up tonight. So no good commentary goes without a dead guy quote, and so I'm going to inject mine into this comments here. Calvin Coolidge. So the nation which forgets its defenders will be itself forgotten. The foundation of that armory was concrete and steel, but it's built on the dedication of the community citizens, those people that stepped forward and said, hey, I think I want to do this. And then when they did, and the nation called, or the state called, or the community called, that they were there. So we absolutely just want other people to know that that building, none of us that have ever been in that uniform will ever drive by that building and not feel a special place in our heart for it. So I've got two copies here. One that goes to the city, and I don't know if there's somebody from the library here tonight. Yes. Yeah. We've got a smaller replica for you. I think you all have a military section there in the library, and again, I don't know how Darrell will ever lift that one up over there. I don't think we will. We'll just let the mayor and the nearest crane company get that one. So yeah, for all of you see, it's just a photo of the architectural rendering that the engineers did, actually well before the armory was built, and then the history of the unit. So that's yours. So how y'all get that one out here? Captain Jackson, Becky, and I got it down here. I don't know how you're going to get it to wherever you're going to get it to, but that is yours to do as you see fit. So that's part one of this, and I'm going to roll right into part two. So in 1991, that armory was dedicated to First Sergeant Howard Vincent Black Sr. Some of you may have known the name. His family's here tonight. Earl, Cynthia, and where's Coach at? Right over there. Yep. When I joined that armory, there was a Howard Vincent Black there, or Howard Black, but that was Howard Vincent Black's son. He was my first company commander. Passed away suddenly here years ago, but nonetheless, for the most of us in this room, Howard Vincent Black, even though he wasn't my first sergeant because he had retired by the time I got there, legendary. So I'm not going to try to tell you everything about him, but part of what drove that and then what we're about to do next is the person he was, the leader he was a character to say the least. Some of these guys can speak more clearly to that than I can. But he was also an aviator. He was an officer. He was a warrant officer, and he was an enlisted. So that's all three professions for us. You know, you're either officer, enlisted, or warrant. He did them all three. 30 combat missions over Europe before he ever became a Tennessee Guardsman. Decorated, did phenomenal stuff. And, you know, when you say 30 missions, that's double digits. Doesn't sound like a lot. Life expectancy on missions was about 7. You're flying with the 8th Air Force and hitting the bearing factories. That there's movies out about that stuff. He did it, came back, served his community here in multiple capacities. So he also had a glass case out there of artifacts that we're going to return to the family tonight. I could spend a lot of time telling you the anxiety and stress that we as the Tennessee National Guard went through trying to locate those artifacts. But nonetheless, we got them. And it gives us a lot of pride tonight to give those things back to the family. So that's what's here. We're going to give the artifacts back. That's more intimate stuff. Miss Cynthia and Coach Hook and Errol. I'm not going to open the box and give it, but I'll tell for those of you that are here, there's silk scarves in here that have maps on them that First Sergeant Black, that's what the aviators had in case they were shot down, that they had a map to navigate off of. That's in here. There's several small personal items, and it does our heart good to know that it's going to go back to the family. So, but before we actually hand that over, there's 3 command sergeant majors in this audience here tonight. And I've already spoken to them, and I want them to come forward because we've got just a couple other things that's not in this box that we want to make sure that your family has. Come on up here, Sergeant Major. And those 2 right there. Maybe they had to put you old cats at attention.
One of them had to work.
Huh?
You're making fun of me. I said one of them had to work.
Yeah, somebody's got to work. All right. So I want to read a little narrative about what this is. So these are 3 command sergeant majors at the top of the enlisted world for them. All 3 of these command sergeant majors had their handprints on me along the way. I couldn't have. I owe them all 3 a lot. So in our state here, when we have NCOs that represent the type of people that all 3 of these are, or First Sergeant Howard Vincent Black is, at certain points we look to present them with this, and it's called the Keeper keeper of the colors. And I'm just going to read you a little history about what that is, and then we'll move on to the final piece. So, in the history of our Army, the unit's colors were the heart and the soul of the formation. In the fog and the chaos of battle, the colors were the rallying point. The duty of protecting them was a sacred trust given to the color sergeant, someone who ensured that the colors never fail. They always provide a beacon of hope and a direction for every soldier to rally on. First Sergeant Howard Vincent Black was the embodiment of that sacred trust. He was our keeper of the colors. He was a steady hand as his soldiers looked into in times of need and uncertainty. He defended our standards, protected his formations, and ensured that the spirit of his unit never faltered. And he's got his handprints on all three of these sergeant majors. So on behalf of the Tennessee National Guard and these three senior NCOs and every senior non-commissioned officer in this state and 13,500 soldiers and airmen, we're going to present Mrs. Hook, Coach Hook, and Errol, you with this symbol of your father and your grandfather's devotion. He was our standard bearer. He was the backbone of this command, and he'll always be remembered as a keeper of the colors. All right, Sergeant Majors. And I thank you three. One other thing for First Sergeant Black, I get to do a few pretty cool things these days, especially when it comes to soldiers and airmen. Not everything that rises to the 4th floor of Joint Force Headquarters is fun, but you don't have to look too hard because we got a formation full of great soldiers and airmen all around. And so what we're fixing to do now is recognize posthumously First Sergeant Howard Vincent Black with the Adjutant General's Distinguished Patriot Medal. So if you're military, either current, former, or whatever, you'll know what to do once I say post the orders. Go ahead, post the orders.
Attention orders. The Military Department of Tennessee, this is to certify that the Adjutant General of Tennessee has awarded the Adjutant General's Distinguished Patriot Medal to the family of First Sergeant Howard Vincent Black, Sr. for the highest patriotic service by First Sergeant Howard Vincent Black. Over a distinguished career spanning more than 3 decades, First Sergeant Howard Black exemplified visionary leadership, unwavering commitment to duty, and exceptional patriotism. First Sergeant Black began his career in 1942 as an enlisted airman in the United States Army Air Corps, serving as an aerial gunner for the 384th Bomb Group. He primarily operated with the B-17 Flying Fortress. During his tenure, First Sergeant Black executed over 30 combat missions in European theater. First Sergeant Black's legacy continued after the war and organized the 1st Tennessee Army National Guard unit in Bolivar, Tennessee, and enlisted with the same unit in 1947. He ultimately rose to the ranks to include stints as a warrant and commissioned officer, and ended his career as Charlie Company, First Sergeant, 4th Battalion, 117th Infantry Regiment for the last 17 of his 38-year career. Such a truly remarkable achievement distinguished him as a patriot who helped preserve the state's military heritage and further the traditions of the Tennessee National Guard, given under my hand in the city of Bolivar, Tennessee, this 11th day of May 2026, signed, Warner A. Ross II, Major General, the Adjutant General.
All right. So we got one more short piece to go. Command Sergeant Major Stevens, where you at? Thank you. If it hadn't been for Command Sergeant Major Stevens, back to these artifacts, as we try to look for them, we weren't having any luck, and Command Sergeant Major Stevens had taken the steps to secure those years ago and had those, and so we were very pleased. I think there's some other stuff, maybe uniform and stuff that we'll get to them.
Yes.
At some, do you have it here, or do
I already put it out.
you already got it to them? Okay, that's good. So, thanks again for letting you, us take a little bit of your agenda. I hope it's, is worthy of, the time that you've given us. And I got one other thing that I want to do, and then I'm pretty sure that most of us will fall out to the parking lot and continue to tell war stories and everything else. But, anyway, one other small thing, and I wanted to do it in this environment. So 13,500 soldiers and airmen in the Tennessee National Guard, people in an organization that large are rotating in and out. You know, life happens. They retire, they move to another state and all that. We've tried our best to make sure that when someone gives 20 years plus of their life, that they're recognized. We're not always successful at that. It just, things go through slip through the cracks. That's not a good word for that, but I put polishes out in my tenure to hold people accountable, to ensure that no one in our formations that has put a significant amount of time in just goes to drill on a Saturday or a Sunday and walks to the parking lot. Nobody ever says, "Hey, I appreciated what you've done." It's important that people understand that that was 20 years plus of their life that this thing called the Tennessee National Guard took from them willingly, but took it, and then at the end there should be something different for them. So we try to do that, but we are also finding mistakes that are made along the way. They just are. What I'm about to do tonight isn't the first by any means. It's just one of that only I can fix. There's not anybody in my formation of the 13,500 that can fix it because it requires my signature to do that. And I've asked my soldiers in my formation and my leaders to make sure that I stay aware that we're tracking every unit across this state, and if they've got a retiree, I want to see 2 or 3 months out, I want to see that retiree paperwork, and I want to see the awards they're given. So we're doing a lot better. We're not perfect at it, though. We still have stumbling blocks. But I got an opportunity tonight to do something that's very special to me and someone that is very special to you all. Go ahead.
Colonel Carey, it would be an honor if you will post.
So he's been, I don't know, I forgot how many roles you held as a civilian here, but I think it's been about every attorney, every judge shift that you could have, along with serving 20 plus years, 30 years in the Tennessee National Guard. How this slipped through the crack, I don't know, but it's my privilege to do this tonight. I remember as a school board superintendent, as a school superintendent, didn't know anything much about superintending, but I did know Chip. I don't think I was to the point I really wanted to call him Chip, because he was a colonel in the Guard. But nonetheless, I remember having a conversation with him one time that went something like this. "Hey Chip, Snub, something, something, something." Yes, he gave me guidance, and it typically was something I did not want to hear. But I remember closing that conversation with, "You know, I judge my weeks on how many times I talk to you, and less is better." That's an Army term. Most of you will know it. 13 years later, and then certainly through this journey, as a general officer and stuff, I've got a plethora of lawyers around me. And they're still telling me stuff I don't want to hear. But if I really get into a bind, and I have a question that I know they're going to understand where I'm really coming from, I'm going to call him. So he didn't get a retirement award. He never said a word about it. He did not. Ain't nobody going to fix that but me. They don't have the authority to fix it, but I do. So city attorney, county judge, county attorney, school board judge, JAG officer, multiple. And just the opportunity. I had to trick him into getting here tonight. If he'd have known this, himself would have never left his home, and I understand that. But I want you to know from the community and from the Tennessee, I think I could probably speak for both, the community and well, whether they like it or not, I speak for the Tennessee National Guard now. My voice is, and we appreciate the service, the sacrifice that you've given, and as do every one of you guys. And it couldn't do my heart any better than to hang out, eat some chow with you, and come back to my hometown tonight, even for just a few minutes. We're gonna go through that drill again. Post the orders.
Attention orders. State of Tennessee, to all shall presents. Greetings. This is to certify that the Governor of Tennessee has awarded the Tennessee National Guard Distinguished Service Medal to Colonel Charles Carey Jr., 230th Area Support Group, Tennessee National Guard, Dyersburg, Tennessee. For long and faithful service to the Tennessee National Guard, Colonel Charles Carey demonstrated unwavering dedication, exemplary leadership, and steadfast commitment to mission accomplishment. He provided expert counsel and guidance to commanders at all levels, ensuring the highest standards of military justice, ethics, and organizational integrity. Such sterling performance enhances the graded volunteer traditions of the Tennessee Army National Guard and honors the people of the state of Tennessee, for which we are grateful. From 22 May 1979 to 1 July 2004, given under my hand in the city of Bolivar, this 11th day of May 2026, signed 1A Ross II, Major General, the Adjutant General, and Bill Lee, Governor of Tennessee.
There you go, buddy. I love you. All right, hey. So you can do awards, you can do that. It really doesn't matter until it's put on either a DD 214, most of you know that, or for National Guardsman 2, a light form, NGB 22. Doing the write-up, that stuff you can do we got people, we know how to do things. Getting this part done is the more difficult part. There's your NGB 22. So we're done. Thanks again. We'll try to get this stuff out of here so you all can actually do the business that you're elected to do for the citizens of Bolivar. I appreciate every one of you, and I just don't get to spend as much time as I want to here.
Jim, before you leave and before the crowd leaves, on behalf of the entire city and the city council, thank each and every one of you for your service. Thank you. General, we'll put that picture in the armory, and we're excited to make sure everyone sees that coming in. Okay, we'll, as they walk out, we'll continue. Representative Shaw and Senator Wiley is here. So if you guys don't mind, I'll yield the floor to them for a couple of minutes to address us.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to the council. And I'm speaking on behalf of Senator Wally. We just wanted to announce to the council that we got the downtown redevelopment project extended for an additional 10 years. We thought you all would want to know that. Actually, from this date, it's about 12 years because we had 2 years left on it till 28. And from 28, 10 years, it has been extended. And hopefully, with the work that you all are doing, we think this is an advantage for you to get more done. And hopefully, we'll see a lot of great things happen after this. And I want to thank Senator Wally for carrying this in the Senate. And on my behalf, Representative Butler carried it in the House because he had a little more pull with the Republicans than I did. But what I will tell you that's really funny, he got up to present it. I said, now when you say what you're going to say, just slightly raise your right hand. He said, why? Because I said, I'm going to call for the question. And so he said, this is about getting the downtown grants extended. I said, call for the question on the bill. And and of course, we got it passed in the House. So thank you all. We're looking forward to it. And we just wanted the council to know. And I think DEFCO has already been informed. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Senator Watt.
I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed this journey with Johnny the last 2 years. You know, DevCo had reached out to us. We started this 2 years ago, and we tried everything, and we even had a special appropriation for $4 million filed. But then all of a sudden, some other representatives got interested in it because there's 6 communities across the state that this applies to, not just Bolivar. So what we had is $4 million. This is going to turn it into more like $8 or $10 million over that 10-year period. Right. And after you get that hotel built, another opportunity we'll have is to have Bolivar declared a premier tourist resort, which will give you more money. So that's just something. And the last thing I'd like to say is one of the last things we did in our regular session was we passed something called the Representative Johnny Shaw Tennessee Agriculture Education and Investment Initiative, which we put $1 million into it, recurring every year, to educate our young farmers and foresters on the importance of agriculture, help them with the technological developments, and just make sure they get off to a strong start. And that was because of Johnny Shaw. And he didn't know we were going to name it for him until the last day, but we did. So I was real proud of that.
And thank you, sir.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you so much. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Y'all have a good meeting. All right. Good night.
Thank you guys again for your leadership and helping Nashville for all they do for us. Go throughout my report. City offices be closed the 25th for Memorial Day. Red, White, and Bolivar be held July 3rd. And we'll be sure to get T-shirt sizes and all that stuff for you guys for that. And get that schedule closer. TML conference is in Kingsport on July 9th through the 12th. I know a couple have reached out to Carrie Beth. If you are going, please let her know soon. Rooms will fill up, and we need to make sure we get travel things organized because it is a pretty far distance from here to Kingsport. So we're working on chartered flight, whether it be chartered flight or chartered bus or something to get everybody there a little more conveniently to TML. Next and final thing on my report, I have a representative here, Mr. Patrick Gant from SBA. So yield the floor to him.
Hey there. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, city officials, and members of the Bolivar community. My name is Patrick Gant, and I'm a public affairs specialist with the U.S. Small Business Administration, the Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. I'm just here tonight because Hardeman County was included in the federal disaster declaration for the severe winter storms, Fern, that occurred from January 22nd to the 27th of January, 2026. So that means that eligible homeowners, renters, businesses, and private nonprofits in our community here may be able to receive disaster assistance through SBA's low-interest disaster loan program. I know when people hear Small Business Administration, they tend to assume it's only for businesses. However, that's not the case. In a disaster, the SBA helps more than just business owners. So those disaster loans may be available, like I said, to homeowners and renters to help repair or replace disaster damaged property, including personal property and vehicles. So for homeowners, the SBA can provide loans up to $500,000 to repair or replace damaged real estate, up to $100,000 to repair or replace personal property, and for businesses and private nonprofits, the SBA helps helps via physical disaster loans to help repair or replace damaged property, inventory, equipment, and other business assets. The SBA also offers economic injury disaster loans, which can help small businesses and most private nonprofits meet ordinary financial obligations. So if they were financially impacted by the disaster, business disaster loans and economic injury loans may be available up to $2 million, depending on eligibility and verified loss. Interest rates are fixed for the term of the loan. For applicants who do not have credit available elsewhere, rates are as low as 2.875% for home loans, 4% for business loans, and 3.625% for nonprofit organizations. For applicants who do have credit available elsewhere, rates are 5.75%. For home loans, 8% for business loans, and 3.625% for nonprofit organizations. So if we compare that to a private loan via a bank, those interest rates are pretty extraordinary. In plain English, no credit available elsewhere just means SBA determines the applicant doesn't have enough funds, resources, or the ability to borrow from non-government sources to recover on their own, whereas credit available elsewhere means that the SBA determines the applicant does have the ability to fund the recovery through their own resources or other non-government borrowing options. The important thing that I want everyone to understand is this, to not count yourself out. Even if you have insurance, even if you're unsure whether you qualify or not, even if you think that the damage may not be bad enough, it's still worth asking questions and learning, what all resources may be available to you. The deadline to apply for physical damage assistance is June 10th, 2026, so it's coming up next month. The deadline for economic injury disaster assistance is January 11th of 2027. Applications can be submitted online through my SBA loan portal at lending.sba.gov. Anyone who needs help can contact SBA's Customer Service Center at 1-800-659-2955. We also have a line for those who are deaf, hard of hearing, or have a speech disability. You would just dial 711 to access telecommunications relay services. The SBA is also working alongside FEMA at local disaster recovery centers where survivors can receive in-person help, ask questions, and have guidance through the recovery process. So currently we have a disaster recovery center in Memphis at the Benjamin L. Hooks Library, public library. So my ask tonight is simple. We would greatly appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. So tell your neighbors, your church members, your employees, your customers, your friends, and anyone who may have been impacted by the Fern storms. Disaster recovery isn't just about rebuilding property. For us, it's about helping families, small businesses, and the communities move forward. So we're here to make sure that people in the Bolivar and Hardeman County communities know that they aren't navigating those processes alone. But thank you again so much for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick, and we have his information if anybody would like to share that, and we'll also be posting and sharing on our social media accounts. So thank you so much again for coming. All right, that concludes my report. We have any public comments? If you guys are okay, I'm going to pass through on the standing committee reports. If y'all have any questions for anybody, we can address those, but I'll just do the bid opening. I knew we had the presentation. I wanted to give General Ross some time, but I couldn't tell him no either. So we can skip these reports. I can do that. So we'll just do bid opening for street department for asphalt. We got two.
I think we need to approve Mr. Lau on the utility board?
Yeah, that's on the, and that's on the new business.
Okay, is that not what we're doing now?
Yeah, it's on the agenda. You talking about Tyler Law on the BEA board?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
It's in new business.
Oh, okay, sorry, I see it now. I see it.
All right, first bid is from Fowler, 142 a ton, from Fowler Paving Company. Second one is from Martin Paving, 137 a ton. And
Excuse me.
I think we've used both of these, haven't we? I know we've used Fowler, and I'm pretty sure we've used Martin. It's just been a while since we've used Martin. But those are the two we got.
Is that 120,
142 from Fowler,
140?
142 a ton,
Oh, okay.
137 from Martin.
and 137 from Martin.
Mr. Mayfield, do you have a preference on each one of these, or are they both okay? I mean,
Well, I'm kind of biased toward Fowler, because he's done really good work in the past, and he's kind of, we need something done.
how much more bang for the buck are we talking about here, as far as one to the other, 137, 142?
Depending on how it's laid, how it's put in, you know, it just depends on that.
But you have used Mr. Martin.
I personally haven't, since I've been here, I haven't.
I'm with
It's-
Martin Paving if y'all have any concerns or questions.
You what now?
He said he's with
I'm
Martin.
with Martin Paving if y'all have any questions or concerns or anything I can help answer.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I like, well, the lowest bid is what we go by, so I'll make a motion we go with Martin.
I got a question first,
All right, I have a motion. What was your question?
how much more do we get, is what I wanna know. Are we talking about a half a mile, we're talking about a quarter mile, like how much more are we gonna get?
I mean, you're talking about tons. I don't know how many tons we put down for the budget. We got 100,000, something like that. I don't have a clue with that.
I'm not aware on that.
Hang on 1 second. If y'all, I think the budget I was told was around $50,000.
Oh, that's right. We use so I'll explain that to y'all too. We usually do more than this. The state street aid we hadn't been reimbursed yet from what we spent on Tate Road. So once we get that back, we'll be able to do more. But what we spent on Tate Road's repair came from that state street aid, which is usually around 90 to 100,000. So what we got out the general fund is 50,000.
Which is the reason why I'm asking is, you know, a little bit in Bolivar goes a long way, so that's why I'm asking. We don't already have a lot for that dedicated anyway, so I mean, if we're talking about any significance, it makes a difference. So that's-
About a 18-foot wide street, you get about 100 more feet of street.
We usually go by the we usually go with the lowest bidder, now unless you just outright. But I made a motion.
I was gonna say we got
Yeah,
a motion for Martin Paving is a second.
Second.
Motion from Mr. McKinney, second from Ms. Ray. Cast your vote. Motion carried. So, Mr. Jerry can get with you guys and y'all work that, time frame and stuff up. If there are no questions, anything on the committee reports, you guys have the reports, and if y'all need anything, you can ask me or any of the department head meetings. We don't have any old business. Next on new business, ballpark lease for Hardeman County School System. Try to make this quick as we can, not to rush through it. If y'all have any questions, Moose is, well, Mr. Swift is here. So we all know him as Moose, so. Moose is here. Mr. Ford is, got two school board members, and I didn't even see Dr. Smith here. Dr. Smith is here as well. What you guys, to update y'all, I think y'all know. If not, I'll tell you, we have a lease with the school system on the ball field. We know it as the Optimus Field or the high school field. If you're traveling west, it's the first field, the big field on the left. We leased that to the school system. I think it's $1 a year or something like that. We have leased here. Well, basically, long story short, The way the lease is set up, we don't do capital improvements. We sort of maintain any of the major repair. Really, anything that happens on the field, the school system is responsible for it. They do the cleaning for the after the games, fence, anything that happens, repairs. They handle that. We own the property. I think the Parks and Rec, Mr. Forrest guys does some maintenance and cutting grass and stuff like that. But major issue we're dealing with, they need lights on the field. They need to upgrade the lights. And I think the expenditure is around 100,000. Is that number correct? I don't know the number, 50,000, whatever it is. It's a pretty significant amount of money. School board, Dr. Smith came to me. They basically want to make sure they protect their investment. So if they spend, I know there's, out of the council members here, everybody I spoke to, there's not anybody on this council, nor myself, that has any desire whatsoever to take the field from the school system or cancel our contract or agreement. Been a good partner with them, and we don't have any issues at all. But people change, things change, and all of us up here could easily be gone within the next one election. And what they don't want to do is spend to make that type of investment. And the way the lease is set up now, I think is it 60 days? I can't remember, but 60 days we could basically write a letter saying we want them out the lease, and they don't want to spend major money, thousands of dollars, for us to say, well, we done what y'all using the field. So we've met back and forth, and we felt like what me and Dr. Smith and their board, I guess, agreed to was a sort of a step down capital investment depreciation clause that we could add to the current lease. And I spoke to Kevin, and he can put this in legal terms that make sense, but I'm speaking just everyday terms. So easy math, if they spend 100,000, we can depreciate that out over the life of whatever that investment is. So let's say they spent 100,000, and over 10 years, if we, in year 2 or year 1, they decide we don't want them there, we'll reimburse them 90,000 or 80,000. It's stepped down over time, depending on the depreciation of that investment that they make. That protects them in the event that they make a major investment. From losing that investment, we can recoup that, and then that also covers us where we still have control of the property. So we talked. This is where the attorneys come in. I think me and Dr. Smith had a good gentleman's handshake agreement, but that don't stand long. So that's where we presented. I talked to Kevin about it. He's good with it. He's going to work with their attorney and figure out basically what we just said and agreed to, putting that into the contract. But I wanted to present it to y'all to get it approved that we do that before the attorneys get going and all this. I don't want them to do all this work, come back, and y'all say you're not interested. So basically, that's what it is. And if Dr. Smith would like to address the council or say something that I didn't, or any of the board members or whatever, I open the floor if you guys did. But I think I covered that well. If there's something else, and what also we talked about, I presented it to them and they was okay with it. I don't even know if they realized it or not, but the field, where we have the asphalt is actually school property. So we have a lease with them, and it's the complete opposite. So I asked also if our attorneys would update that contract as well. So they've no desire whatsoever for us to leave that property over there where the asphalt is. Like I said, I don't even know if they even knew, but they hadn't said to us, hey, we're going to kick y'all off the property. But in the event that we decide we make a major investment over there, they agreed to do the same in that lease. So all the lease, I think those were the only two that we had, but just update both of those to cover them and to cover us as well. So, Dr. Smith, did you have anything else? Okay. Did anybody have any questions on that? Kevin, if you would like to say anything to make, the legal part sound right.
Well, I mean, certainly we can draft it up any way you want. My only concern, and I think it's fair on both sides, whatever capital outlay, whether it's city doing a capital outlay or the county doing a capital outlay, is that it's depreciated for the life of the item. I know in the example it had a 10-year period. We just need to make sure, and there's simple ways we can do that, do these lights have a 5-year lifespan, a 20-year lifespan? Because certainly we don't want to depreciate over 10 years something that has a lifespan of 5 years, because then somebody's going to be in a problem if so we just need to make sure the percentages are there. Other than that, I think it's a win-win for both sides, especially if you're doing it on both of them across the board. But that's more just technical legal language.
And I failed to mention too, this would be an addendum to the contract. So right now we're talking about lights. So in the event that it was something different, this wouldn't necessarily be a blanket deal, because like you said, depending on what it is, the price may be more, the depreciation amount of time. So this would be something that would be more of a, I guess, working document if they, right, like I said, right now the biggest thing is lights. So if they come back and decide they want to turf all the infields or something, which they didn't tell me they was going to do that.
And I think that would be important.
Pretty sure that'd be the rumor out now that y'all about to turf the infield. But anyway, so, but whatever it is, we would address that at each time that we do it.
Yeah, basically this would be Amendment 1 to the lease, which I think was originally done in 2022. And then if we do lights as Amendment 1, if there's something else, Amendment 2. Basically, it would just be a working template, because obviously both sides need to agree before any capital improvement is done, because both sides have skin in the game, so to speak. If that makes sense.
Any questions?
Makes sense.
So you're saying that I just want to make sure, get clarification on this, is that the lights is what we doing, right?
Well, the lights is what they're doing.
No, well,
Yeah.
I think that was my next question would be, they are gonna be paying.
Oh, right, yes, they're paying
For, okay, it's just in the event of 10 years, if we decide to break a lease, that means whatever they paid, we pay them back.
Right.
We pay them back.
Right.
Okay, well.
A percentage, yeah.
I'm all for that then.
Well, 'cause-
I'll make that motion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was going to make that.
Okay,
Whatever,
all right, I go with
whatever.
that,
Ms. McKinney got a motion and Ms. Ray has a second. Yeah, they're not asking us for any money.
Okay, all right, well, yes,
let's vote.
We can go with that one.
So you thought they wanted a percentage of the cost. I'm pretty sure
I
Dr.
just
Smith will
want,
take it if you give
I
it to
just
him.
want clarification, that's all, I just want clarification, that's all.
All right. Motion carried. Thank you guys so much, and Kevin, we'll get, I don't know the county's, the school board's attorney, but we'll work through that. All right, next, resolution 2026-005, issue of the fire department capital outlay note. We approved this at the last meeting. This is actually the resolution. And that's for the match on the CBDG grant for the, new fire pumper truck. Is it a pumper truck? Yeah, fire truck. Fire truck. Any questions on that? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So,
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lau, second by Mr. Williams. If you would cast your vote. Motion carried. Next is, I'll just address both of these at the same time because they pretty much the same thing. We finally got the approval of from the USDA on the federal side for the funds for the remodel on the armory. But of course, once they sent the approval out, they sent another resolution. We passed the resolution, but they want their exact wording. So that's what resolution 26006 to issue the general obligation bond not to exceed $4 million for the acquisition of land, design, site development, construction, improvement, renovation, repair, and equipping the community center related to the costs and payments. Is the sale of the bonds. So that's what resolution 2026-006 is, and 26007 is the same bond. The same resolution that we sent in to rural development.
Make the motion we approve.
Okay, have a motion to approve resolution 26006 from Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Lau. Cast your votes. Motion carried. Next is resolution 26007, same thing, and this goes to the federal government, to rural development. So there's not any questions or on that, is there a motion to approve resolution 2026-007?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Williams, and second by Mr. Woods. If you will cast your votes. All right, motion carried. And next, we have approval to appoint, reappoint Mr. Lau back to the BEA board. So there's not any.
So moved.
All right, motion from Mr. McKinney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Golden. What, cast your votes?
Oh, yeah.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McKinney. Is a second? Second by Mr. Wood. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.